Boy, Andy, you had quite an arc this season on 1923. We met you in a very precarious situation, which we'll get to, but what was it about Luca that drew you to this role, and how did you find this character as far as starring in the series?
Sure. It's kind of serendipitous. Um, I started working with a manager very recently, I guess back in May, and he actually found me. He saw my material online, my reel, and was interested in working with me. And he was a great guy, Jordan Holzer. So I said, why not? Let's do it. And 2 weeks after working together with him, he gets me this audition for 1923. So I was obviously ecstatic, and when it came in, I had auditioned for John Popsidere and Automatic Sweat's casting office for a few things in the past, but something of this magnitude, Taylor Sheridan, uh, obviously it came in. I was just so excited to have the chance to do the audition, but also once I read it, this was a role that really, really spoke to me very deeply. And it's something that when I first saw it, I knew that it was meant for me. I swear to you, I really did know that it was meant for me. And I knew after it only took me like 24 hours to really get it all in my head, which it was 10 pages, three scenes for the audition, which is kind of a lot. But for some reason, it went in, and I worked on it obviously, but it was more natural. It just kind of came out. So, when it's meant to be, I guess it's meant to be. Does that answer your question? A little bit.
And did they describe Luca to you as like an Italian immigrant on his way here with this particular purpose? Did they describe him to you much, give you much background information except for start practicing your Italian accent?
Right. I think the character description said um, thin, thin to the point of being skinny and pretty like a girl. So that was what I had to work with to start. But then, once I read it and started working on it, he's an immigrant coming over from Mussolini's Italy, escaping war and dictatorship over there. Um, they actually, production, we talked about, doing an Italian accent, but it was kind of my impetus to add some Sicilian elements there because the character's from Palermo and from Sicily. So I went and I worked with a dialect coach. Accents are kind of my specialty. I love accents. I think I can do pretty much any accent with training, but the Italian accent is quite difficult, even for someone who speaks the language like me. It's not easy to do.
Did they ask you to shave? Did you have to lose weight since you said he was supposed to be thin in frame?
I tried to lose as much weight in a couple weeks' time as possible, so I just, kind of ate vegetarian a little bit and was on the bike as much as I could. I'm already pretty thin, but I shaved obviously to look as young and thin as possible. And yeah, I feel like I had been working out a lot at that time, lifting a lot of weights, and so being in the bottom of the ship shoveling coal, if you look at my muscles, it almost looks like this is a person who has been shoveling coal for the past couple of months. It worked,
Very
thankfully.
authentic. You
Yeah, I guess.
and you spent most of your time working with Brandon Sklenner. It was must have been hot down there in a boiler. Are you on an actual ship in those scenes when you are in that boiler room and in the
So,
in the bunk area?
yeah, we filmed most of our scenes in a soundstage in Austin, Texas. So everything you saw was created by the production team and set design, which, walking into that cold room on day one was just like amazing. It just felt so real, It was not hot, actually. It was room temperature, besides the lights of the, lighting for the scene and whatnot. That's movie
Oh,
magic,
movie
of
magic,
course.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And the
Okay.
bunk was pretty room temperature as well. Yeah.
that I don't know. Was it a traumatic moment for you to film that scene? Was it difficult, maybe emotionally, when you're filming that scene for you, or were you able to step out and be like, this is a character, this is the experience he had, and sort of take your mind away from that difficult of a scene to film? And was there an intimacy coordinator as well, maybe to help you both?
Oh yeah, we did have an intimacy coordinator for sure. She prepped me on the scene beforehand, and we met like a week or so before filming that scene. Also, Anthony, the actor who I was in with that scene, like just he did a great job. You wanted to hate him, obviously, but he's the nicest guy, like just a real sweet, like sweet man. He made sure I was okay and everything. I did a lot of reading and research on that specific topic because I wanted to kind of get it right, and it's obviously, really the one of the most difficult circumstances that you could deal with as an actor, that type of traumatic situation. And so I just tried to believe in the circumstances that Taylor put for me and the words on the page, and like that's all you can really do. But on the day, it was yeah, it was pretty. I just wanted to get it right, and so it was pretty terrifying at certain times. But Ben Richardson, the director, also helped me like every step of the way throughout the whole process. And so yeah, I'm happy with how it came out and came together.
Well, you develop a quick partnership with, well, Luca develops a quick partnership with Spencer, um, sort of gaining some finances to go along with him. And Luca seems to actually be quite familiar, maybe, with the world of uh fighting for money because he's like, okay, I get 10%, you do the so were they you given any kind of backstory on that, or just, like, hey, Lucas Scrappy, he comes from this world. He's gonna know what's going on with this fight club, as it were.
That's right. Yeah, he's Sicilian. I'm Sicilian. I feel like I've been to Sicily a few times, and it's a very different place from the rest of Italy. And I'm not really like a gambler myself, but when you go to Europe, like gambling's legal in Europe. I mean, it's legal here now too, but I feel like there's definitely a scrappiness to Luca that I just rolled with, and yeah, I did a little brief research on gambling and whatnot, and obviously, like it's a high stakes situation, so that was not too difficult for me to handle there. But fun stuff for sure.
Well, as we talk about, you spend majority of your scenes with Brandon. Talk about working with him.
Oh man, just dream come true. Like that guy is phenomenal in every way. He's just a cool dude, but also as an actor, he's so good and he's so committed and grounded in his work. And yeah, I just developed such a nice bond with him on set and in our work. Um, he's like he has all this internal work that he's doing when he steps into a scene and he's living it. And yeah, I if all my scene partners going forward are as committed and as good as him, I will be happy with whatever comes next. It was great.
All right, Gangster Gilles Marini was pretty cool. I was envious of his suit, and I'm not even starting. You got to have mud and dirt and, like, rags to wear, and he's out here flaunting. Did you all speak much about how you guys were on-screen related, and maybe spend much time behind the scenes talking at least a little bit about, like, during your downtime, having a great, maybe a conversation in Italian?
Yeah, we did. So I reached out to production the day or two before our scene, and I said, "Do you have Jill's number? I'd love to talk with him." And they gave it to him. We met up at my hotel in the lobby, and had like a drink. And he's just, oh my God, he's such an awesome guy. He's like this, like 6'3", handsome French Italian dude, and I just like felt the cousin connection. We didn't have to do much work because we kind of look similar as well. I think they cast it perfectly on that. But yeah, we did speak Italian because he speaks Italian as well. So we talked in Italian. We talked about the scene and everything. And I had prepared the Sicilian bit that I, come and tell him about, which, yeah, it was great. It's really, really cool to have that relationship.
Okay, well, prohibition was a big thing back then, and you were out there in this seafood car trying to path your way. Talk about filming in that little car, and then as far as, your loyalty, it's undying to your family. Even Spencer's telling you this will get you killed. This is something they set you up for, no matter what your family is, this is what they set you up for. Talk about those moments and sitting there in that car during that scene.
Sure, sure. So I mean the car scene was filmed it was like a nice 7 minute sequence, I think, there from beginning to end in episode three. And we filmed it over I think a span of maybe 2 or 3 days. Um, but just the banter at the beginning, me and Spencer's banter at the beginning was so much fun, and then it quickly takes that turn when things aren't going right. I think Luke has been through a lot at that point, and he's he's been like kicked at every point, and so maybe there's this psychological thing that he's going through of like, I want to be in control for once. And Spencer's obviously right. Watching the episode just deeply saddens me because it's like, he should have gone. He should have just gone to him and helped him fight in Montana on the ranch. But
Exactly. And I also wanted Spencer to be like, no, this is, you're not doing this. Like, you're my little pal. End of story. I took your gun. I'm not letting you drive. Like, if there were keys, he would have thrown them. I feel like
I know, he gave up quickly.
on. But, Luca, as you said, is determined. This is his family. So I guess at the same time, he has to trust them no matter what. There is no driving, I mean, not driving off. I mean, in his eyes, there is no not driving off. Whereas Spencer's like, you have autonomy. You can make your own future. You don't have to have that loyalty, which was just a heartbreaking scene to watch the two of you, and then for it to play out on screen in the end the way it was just so disappointing that Luca had gone through so much to get to America. He had the savior sitting inches away from him, and he wound up, you know, fate fate took him from
Yeah,
the world in the
throwing
end.
it away, it's hard, I guess, when you're
Such a
young and you're
bitter
trying.
pill to swallow.
I know, I know, Jimmy, I know. When you're young and you're trying to like come up and make yourself in the world, I think it can be difficult to live in a world that's as brutal as that, where you're this. He's the small, sensitive character and surrounded by such might. Yeah, super tough, super tough. Um, yeah, but again, the family aspect and the loyalty to his family supersedes anything. I mean, especially in Sicilian culture, it's like family is number one ahead of everything. And the, you know,
You
a lot
said,
of
don't
people
use the gun. He's told you not.
didn't listen, misguided, right?
Your loyalty sometimes has to supersede, what you know to be right. I mean, he looked like he understood what Spencer was saying to him. He looked like he agreed with what Spencer was saying. But, that blood is thicker at that moment had to supersede it, knowing he looked like he understood, yeah, I probably will get killed, but there is not going against my family for not doing this. So it's just as bitter pill that we saw an end to such a innocent little soul.
I know, I know. And for him to yeah, to die in a shootout like that quickly after getting into America, I mean, there has to be some sort of death wish there because that's right.
I'm telling you, fate somehow just knew that he wasn't meant for this world, maybe.
I guess not. I guess not. He'd been through
Taylor
a lot.
Taylor knew he wasn't meant for
He knew above anybody else. He knew. So I would have loved to have him go 8 episodes, or whatever. But
I
Okay,
would have loved it, three was a good run. You had three good runs.
absolutely, absolutely. No, no, no. That's everything's meant to be exactly in the perfect Taylor Sheridan universe, of course, for
Yeah.
sure.
I was going to ask you then, what does it mean to you to have been a part of a Taylor Sheridan universe?
Oh God. I've been such a big fan of his ever since Sicario came out in like 2014, 2015. And me and my friends watched that movie like religiously. So to work on one of his productions, yeah, it's a gift. It's an actor's gift. And I'm like, where do you go from here, you know? But and his writing is just genius and prolific, and it just flows out of you. I mean, I owe him. I feel like I did a great job, but it's his writing that allows you to do that because it's so layered. There's so much research that goes into it for him to, research the world like he did, even for my character coming from Sicily of what was happening there at the time. Like, yeah, it just made the job easier for sure.
Yeah, I wasn't going to even ask like if there was room to improv because I would be like, there's no way I would even attempt. Not just
We
not
we
just
threw
because
in a few things.
historically, but because it's Taylor's. I feel like, do I touch? Do I dare?
Right, of course, of course. Naturally, some stuff come like
And
there
I'm
was
sure gave you permission at that point.
right, right. I mean, you he knows what he's doing more than anyone. So you don't need to play with the lines. You don't need to add a single word. But there was one I think at the end of the gambling scene where I give Spencer the money and then he goes and leaves and he says whatever he says and then I said buonanotte, which in Italian is good
Good
night.
night, yeah.
That wasn't in the script,
Okay.
so that was okay.
Okay,
But
that I
then
felt like that was a yeah, I figured, you could add an Italian word here or there that maybe
yeah, I was the expert in Italian for
there you go.
sure for the production. So yeah, 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 yeah,
I
absolutely.
mean, do your friends and your family just like cry, have happiness for you that you've been a part of this? Or like when they found out you were in this series, were they just like the proudest they've been maybe of the work you've put into your acting career?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, everybody, friends and family, have been so encouraging and supportive and happy for me. That I've been working close to 15 years now. Did a lot of theater and auditioning for film and TV, and so it's a huge win, and it's not lost on me. And it feels like a win for all of my people as well who have been along with me on the journey. And yeah, they're very, very happy. It's a very good time of excitement for all of us right now.
All right. Well, what's next for you, Andy? Have you been busy working on any other projects recently?
So right now, I'm auditioning when they come in. There's a project that I could be playing the lead in over the summer. It's a feature film, but it's an independent film, and they're still working on financing, raising the money for that. Otherwise, right now, I am almost done raising the money for my second full length play. I'm a writer as well, and so I have like several projects that I'm trying to get off the ground. But this play is called Tweet Tweet, and it's one of the best things I've written. It's a psychological comedy about what we think we can control and what we don't know we can't. And so I am going to put it on at the Hudson Theater in Los Angeles on Santa Monica Boulevard, and I'm hoping to be able to do that by this year or maybe the beginning of next year. So yeah,
Would you star in it as well, or are you just standing there as the director and sort of crafting everyone's performances?
I will be in it. I will be playing one of the leads. It's a six-person play, and they're all leads. So I'll be playing one of them and directing like a complete madman. Yeah.
Well, that's just incredible. Will we be seeing you then maybe outside of this, hopefully on a Broadway stage at some point?
Hey, I'll take whatever I can get. So from your words to God's ears, right? Yeah.
All right. I mean, did you get a chance to maybe pick Taylor's mind or something about, when it comes to the writing he did, or were you just on set just soaking it all in and then you crafted, your work based on your experiences and your thoughts and such as well?
So I actually didn't get a chance to meet him because he was filming the last season of Yellowstone. Hope to, someday pick his brain on writing for sure. But this play was something that I started writing in 2018 and finished in 2020. So it's been kind of,
Okay, so it's been lingering for a bit that you've had. That's so incredible. And I'm more than happy to include a link to the fundraising if you would need me.
oh,
I would be more than happy to help do that. And as well, if you have it on any of your social media platforms, I'll help boost it as well.
I
But
love that. Thank you, Jamie. Yeah, I really appreciate that.
this role for you was just absolutely outstanding. And you have to know you have a gift for acting, especially based on this performance that you put in to 1923. What would you like to say to people who just were in awe of this performance and absolutely are fans of the wonderful work you put into the other projects you've been a part of?
Thank you. That really means a lot. Thank you for saying that. Yeah, I think this is a performance that, it's for everybody. It's for any fan of the show or someone who wants to see, you know, great storytelling at the highest level. And I'm just thankful to have been a cog in this beautiful machine. But also, you know, I I feel like the role should be dedicated to, anyone who's maybe feels small in the world and or obviously my Italians. I've had a few people reach out saying like, "Hey, your accent, you nailed it. I grew up in an Italian American community, and the Sicilian stuff you did, like, we really appreciate it." And that's, to hear that, that's kind of that's like, better than any review you could
Sure, it
get.
must have been insane much to you to hear that you represented the people that you come from so well.
Absolutely. Amen. And yeah, I mean, my ancestry comes from Palermo, so it's like I have my ancestors helping me on this one for sure.